Hey guys, it's me, Kevin here. So I wanted to tell you today about like video game development. It's not easy. I am a single developer. I'm not exactly validated yet because I don't have any products out in the gaming industry apart from some League of Legends mods that I did in the past and like some things I was working on for Dota 2 and Ragnarok Online. That's about as far as I've ever produced in the industry. So I want to give you sort of like a little bit of a mind trip here in terms of a development. So bringing Zhrei to life was a hell of a lot of a challenge because I'm mostly a modeler and a character artist. I'm not really an animator or a rigger. So the things that I have to learn myself and overcome for this entire project to come to the light when you guys see it in the future when I release it, or as a demo or whatnot, or even just like an animation, the thing is that I have to learn are like particle effects and like animation, keyframing. And I'm probably gonna have to get some help from like some animators that I actually know, which are like family friends. It's very, very difficult, guys. I have a lot to do and I have a lot to learn on my own, and I also want to get it all to you within 1 year, so that's a little insane. So basically, well, I'll give you a breakthrough. Like, I've never really worked in a studio either, but I've always studied the game credits. I've always looked at work development interviews. I've actually seen like tours of studios like Blizzard and NCSoft, and I've also seen like I've actually been inside EA as an employee at one point, and various other things. So it's just there's a lot that I have to know personally. One thing when I was doing the League of Legends mods was that I was doing that as a test. Sorry, I'm still a little sick. So that was a self-test. But the thing about that was that I ended up doing more than I actually needed to. So if you think about it, an art department generally has people under the professions of a modeler, a texture artist, and concept artist. So concept artist is the guy who draws the stuff, and then he'll pass that over to the actual 3D modelers. They'll create that quickly within a day or so, and then afterwards the texture artists will paint it, or either that the modeler will also do the texturing too. But the modeler also has a setup like these things called UVs, which is basically coordinates on how to like GIF wrap your character with a color properly. Otherwise you'll have weird stretchy textures and then like pixels and color information all stretched out, and some parts having more detail than others. Though that's a big problem, and that's like puzzle solving itself. And then afterwards, once that's all done, they pass it to a rigger slash animator. Sometimes they're both. A complex rigger will actually set up the character to do very, very complex animations. I'm only going to do something basic because I'm not that crazy yet, and I don't think I need to bring that to a very, very advanced level for the scope of my project, because that's just a bunch of extra work that I don't need to do. And then after that, the animator spends hours and hours doing like animations. Like, they do frames and clips of animation, and then once they put it all together, you have your character basically. So in a MOBA game, that's what goes through the character art side of development. After that, there's always the programmer side. The programmer side, they create the features and the skills and functionality and mechanics that the skills can do, like how long does this stun for? Like, say Mirana's arrow, it's like travel in this direction for like 3,000 units. If collide with any kind of enemy, hero, or target, stun it for X seconds based on distance traveled, and suffer X damage that skill level is at. Something like that. In terms of English. In terms of code, that's a whole lot different. It could be a couple lines of code, or it could be very, very many lines of code, depending on how advanced and the function is. So these are things that I have to do myself. So when I made League of Legends mods, the thing there was that I actually had to learn import export with the game engine, and then I this isn't something I'm trying to advertise here, but it's basically I had to rip out in-game models and then actually modify them, and then I had to conform to like a skeleton that they had already, so pre-made. So basically I'm working to their standards. I can't like freestyle edit these into whatever I want and hack the game entirely. I actually have to build the models around their current infrastructure and that's actually extremely difficult because I had to revamp some of the models entirely and then make sure it still works with their skeleton. And on top of that, I started baking out custom animations for the skins that I made too, right? And then when I was all done and all that, I did it in a week by myself, and that was just like a test for 3D because they used to pump out characters once a week. And then I noticed, and then my friend brought to my attention that I'm actually like a whole art department by myself, and it was pretty crazy. So they didn't. So my friend actually told me, he's like, "Yo, Kevin, you're not just a model or a character artist. You did like all the import export, you did all the testing, you did all the marketing, you did all the videos, you did all the editing, packaging, concept art, modeling. You took another game's concept, you brought it into this game, made it a reality." And people were like, "Fuck, dude, this is legendary." And I was just like, that was a fuckload of work for a lot of nothing. So now I'm actually like putting my work and energy into a product that I can actually own myself and then share it with you guys. So like I hope you guys will enjoy something that I've created that you guys can actually take ownership in, saying like, "Hey, I know that guy." Alright, sorry guys, so that was a little bit of a breakdown of basically what I have to go through as a game developer. It's just a small example. I'm sorry, that was a bit of a way off topic, and it is, yes, it's another day, and I had to continue that segment right now. So bringing Zhrei to life was really difficult. One of the problems that I encountered, which made the 500 subscriber special substantially longer before it came out, was that there was a problem that I had with the character and binding the sword to her arm. So animation is pretty interesting. Like, you know, once the model's all done, it's generally in a T or a V pose, and generally when you need to bind a weapon, you have to track the hands on the weapon somehow so it doesn't look strange. But the problem that I had was the way I set it up, that it was very, very difficult to track her hand. So in terms of like a movie or an animation short, it would be very, very difficult and 10 times the amount of work basically to just have her like swing a sword, even with both her hands on it properly, like looking like she's actually holding it. And in the end, I ended up only gluing one of her hands to it. If you look carefully in the animation, you'll actually notice that she's stabbing forward with only one hand. So one of the most difficult parts about that was that I had to learn some new strategies and some animation rigging strategies that I have to teach myself basically. And I already knew the setup at how to do it, except I didn't know. After knowing how to do it, the next problem is how to execute it. So basically my execution was a little bit poor, and I have to redo it again. So right now my character Zhreiyenne, she doesn't have any facial expressions at the moment, so I'm actually modeling her teeth right now so she can actually smile and whatever, or look really, really neutral and have her mouth open without looking like it's just gums. And as well, I have to make some eye expressions as well. After that, then I actually build the finally environment and then have her smash some things around and then show you guys like the progress. So in terms of this game project, I will be telling you like the struggles and the things that I learned along the way. And at the very end, you will see like a product, and then it'll also be posted. I'll let you guys know when it's there. It'll be posted in the description section as a demo when I believe I have something playable for you guys, and you guys can just all try it out, just like a short bit of it, just to have a feel for what to expect. So I mean, this is intense for me. It's a big risk on my end, but I mean, for me, it's a dream basically. I'm working towards this dream. It's a passion of mine. I know I play games like crazy, and I know a lot of you are Vindictus followers. But at the end of the day, as I grow older, I do want to make a game rather than be an actual like crazy hardcore gamer. So I only play the games because I want to learn about what's out there on the market currently. There's always going to be something better, but I'm still going to make my game regardless of if anything's going to beat my game in every sense. It doesn't matter. For me, it's the matter of completing this project and doing it and sharing it with you guys. So I want to feel magnanimous, and yeah, so like I hope this clip around me that's been going while I'm talking makes some sort of sense to you in like the process that it takes to make a major character. So in terms of like why one character takes so long versus a few others is that I want this character to be like something I'm attached to. So therefore I know that I will like it and then I will continually improve upon it, and the entire character itself like an actual person that you'll meet throughout the game that you'll grow to like too, maybe. Who knows? But I mean, that's how I'm designing major characters. For minor characters, for like instance like bosses that you're going to slay and not really hear of again, those will be a lot faster. So in my game there's only going to be about 3 major characters that you will like interact with a lot as a player. So one thing that a lot of games that I've played these days, it feels very, very soulless, if that makes any sense. It's basically what I'm saying is that the story to me doesn't really stick with me throughout the game, and then at the very end it's not very memorable and I don't really want to tell my friends about it, apart from yeah, it was good the first time through and that was it. And I didn't really like remember anything from it apart from that the experience the first time was okay. And then I also consider like, is it because I'm getting older, or is it because I'm way too good at games, or is it just not stimulating my brain? Like, which one is it? But for me, it was like the gameplay is fine. It's just that the story itself feels like that's the thing that was least spent upon. Like when I look back to classics, the classics still play very, very well. For instance, Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. You play within 2 different worlds, the present and the destructive apocalypse where Ganon took over everything. And then there's also like Soul Blazer, where you have to actually rebuild the entire civilization yourself by defeating monsters and the boss in there. And then the god's voice is basically your guidance, and throughout the game there's not very much dialogue, but you can piece together an imaginative story in your head just based on what's going on throughout the game with various NPCs that you rescue. So that kind of like enforces a sense of mystification, if you will. So basically for you will end up filling the gaps yourself, and then when you discover more about the story, you're just like, aha, and you feel great. And like that's what I'm trying to revive in terms of like a game industry. One of the things I notice is like a lot of the games I play, it's very, very like, it either is arcadey, which is fine. Like an arcadey game, you just want to be able to jump into it and then jump out of it and just be like, I had a laugh, I had a stupid time in there and whatever. And games like that are like Call of Duty or like MOBAs or like anything like that. Like even ARPGs. Like in ARPGs, the story doesn't matter too much. And yeah, so like those are just some examples. So I hope you guys understand that this project for me is a lot to take on. And as well, I don't have any funding or anything on it too. So do keep that in mind. Like I can't give you top AAA and top end quality because I don't have a team I don't have a team of help, and I've had about 40 people come in and out of this project. I might have said that in the previous diary. So yeah, guys, bringing my character to life is pretty amazing. It's nice to see how the hair effects are involved with her character entirely. One of the things was that I wanted my character to have really Final Fantasy like hair, and I spent a whole weekend actually getting that down. Some of my friends saw the progress at how that was done. Here's a screenshot of it, so you can see how that kind of progressed from like a drawing into its actual shaping, and then into the actual like strand like thing that you see like in FF. So one of those things is really, really hard. I don't know of other artists like me who do this. I noticed I've spoken with instructors and they told me that they don't really even teach this. It's more like a subcategory of a position, and they're basically called hair artists. So that's pretty intense. Like there's a whole like position just for this kind of thing. And studios like Pixar do this too. Like they spend hours and hours just shaping each strand out, and that's basically what it takes to get that hairstyle. Is that I had to do every single strand of Zhrei's hair to get it like that. And then that's basically the movie version. So in game, it won't actually look that detailed, but I have to make sure that the in-game version looks similar enough where you can make the connection that it's still the same thing. So that's a bit of an illusion and a trick, but that's the difference between a CGI movie and in-game graphics. So I mean, my character in-game will still be very, very highly detailed because there's not going to be very much for the engine to render out or basically display on your screen. So it's very, very minimalistic, and I'm hoping to achieve like a high level of detail with very little assets. So then it looks like a really, really high quality piece of thing. And for references, I've always looked into different like fighting movements. Like I also study like jujitsu and like Muay Thai and like kickboxing, and other like sword fencing and all those other things, and different games that how like characters swing their weapons and whatever. And I'm always trying to develop new ways that look like they make sense but are probably really fantasy and unreal. So that's one of the things that is troubling for me is that I have to come up with these new things and make sure it looks epic enough so that you'll remember the movements too and be like, fuck, I want to see that again. Sort of like Cloud's Omni Slash basically is a very staple attack signature move that a lot of people understand what it is. You say Omni Slash and people immediately think Cloud Strife. So that's just an instance and an example. So I hope you'll understand. And yeah, so that's the end of this diary, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I do hope you enjoyed this little bit of a like behind the scenes kind of thing and what goes through my mind as a solo developer. Like when I create these things, I also look into how it's going to fit in the game when I have to program it as well. So I do the art first so I can get a reaction from y'all and whoever else is coming in and for myself to see if I actually like it too, like when I just sit here and stare at like my own clip and be like, do I like that or not? And then if it passes my own satisfaction of a standard, then I will move forward with it. There will be a period where there will be polish, so there's also that period where it's just good enough for me to place it out there so you guys can experience some of it. Like I can always make it look pretty later. I just want to make sure that it plays and kind of sticks to your mind rather. So if anything, it could just be cubes fighting each other. But if the story makes sense and it's interesting enough to you, then that's something that I have accomplished as a goal for you guys. Alright guys, so thank you so much for watching again, and I'll see you on the next vlog. So bye bye for now. I do hope that you are all happy and doing the right thing to gain the one you love. And if you don't have anybody in your mind, just make sure that you are happy on this day that people do still love you, of other types, family, friends, the people you might not even see that do. And if you're together with somebody, make sure you enjoy each other's company. And I want you guys all to know that very, very well, without any regrets.